Hello, my lovelies. How are you? So, Miss Sarah Boone has become her own attorney since the last time we met. You remember that letter where she thought the judge was the manager? Well, he showed her. And so today she made her first appearance as her own attorney. I watched it once at work, so kind of distracted, but really was listening to it. I wanted to watch it with you guys. So I'm glad you're here. Let's see what's going on. Uh-oh. Right after my son stops playing with the TV. Share audio. Okay. Here we go. Oh, yeah? Let's see. Let's put me down here and let's get into it.
Mr. Cacciatore.
Dave Cacciatore on behalf.
Dave
Cacciatore on behalf of the state.
Ms. Boone, good morning. Could you please raise your right hand so Madam Clerk can swear you in?
Yes.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you state your name and date of birth for the record for me?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-77.
We also have a representative from Prison Break Investigations. Sir, if you could come forward, please.
Okay, wait. Side note 10-10-77. That means ma'am is 46. She's looking a rough 46. She'll be 47 in October. Jail has not been kind to her, and rightfully so, because she was not kind to George.
If you could, sir, raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in. All right, sir, good morning. Could you state your name for the record?
Billy Lane.
And Mr. Lane, what's your affiliation with Prison Break Investigations?
I'm the owner and chief investigator.
Okay, very good. The reason the court had this hearing this morning is the court has found that Ms. Boone has forfeited her right to counsel and waived her right to counsel alternatively by virtue of her conduct in this case. As such, Ms. Boone is currently representing herself. The court has been working diligently to provide you the discovery. I received your letter, ma'am, and I have reviewed it. We have not forgotten about you. It's just taken some time in order to coordinate the appropriate processes with the jail. In conversations with...
Oh my God, the shade. Hopefully you've seen that letter by now. I might make a separate video of her letter. First sentence, where is my discovery? No decorum whatsoever. But anyway, and I know a lot of people on YouTube were reporting that, oh, she got the discovery the day after that she wrote that letter. Uh-oh. Go on. So I know it was reported by some folks that on the 9th that she received her discovery, which is not true. What happened was the discovery was delivered by Attorney Cashman to the court. And then if you went in the docket, it said that the court was trying to figure out the process for how to get the discovery to Attorney Boone. Or should I say attorney, like she likes to say. Anyway, let's get back to it.
The jail, a laptop has been secured and will be issued to you after USB drives are provided with all the discovery. Upon the jail's receipt of those items, the following provisions will be adhered to. The laptop, charging cable, and USB devices will be kept in the FDC main control room when not in use. At no time will the charging cord be placed in the housing unit. Upon the return of the laptop to the FDC main control, the laptop will be placed on the charging cable to ensure it is available for the next day's usage. The laptop and USB device is to be accounted for with the control room inventory. The control room DST or CO will make logbook entries for the issuing and returning the USB device and laptop. The dorm officer will make logbook entries for the receiving and returning of these items to the applicable movement officer. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device to inmate Boone. The laptop and USB device will be available daily to you, Ms. Boone, between 0800 and 1600 hours. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device for the receiving and returning of these items to the applicable movement officer. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device to inmate Boone.
Let me go back.
I think USB device will be available daily to you, Ms. Boone, between 0800.
I think I skipped ahead there when I paused. Let me just go back. And we're going to speed up the settings because otherwise I may not get through this.
Entries for the issuing and returning the USB device and laptop. The dorm officer will make logbook entries for the receiving and returning of these items to the applicable movement officer. Control. The USB drives are provided with all the your letter, ma'am, and I have reviewed it. We have not forgotten about you. It's just taken some time in order to coordinate the appropriate processes with the jail. In conversations with the jail, a laptop has been secured and will be issued to you after USB drives are provided with all the discovery. Upon the jail's receipt of those items, the following provisions will be adhered to. The laptop, charging cable, and USB devices will be kept in the FDC main control room when not in use. At no time will the charging cord be placed in the housing unit. Upon the return of the laptop to the FDC main control, the laptop will be placed on the charging cable to ensure it is available for the next day's usage. The laptop and USB device is to be accounted for with the control room inventory. The control room DST or CO will make logbook entries for the issuing and returning the USB device and laptop. The dorm officer will make logbook entries for the receiving and returning of these items to the applicable movement officer. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device to inmate Boone. The laptop and USB device will be available daily to you, Ms. Boone, between 0800 and 1600 hours. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device to yourself, Ms. Boone.
So from 8 to 4, right? She'll be able to access this laptop. She can't take the cord in the room. Yeah. And it's all going to be digital, right? So that makes me wonder, where am I? Let me make myself big. That makes me wonder, like, how did Darrow Books have those boxes? Or maybe they were just carrying them into the courthouse? Yeah, I guess he couldn't carry them because he was shackled, right? But she's going to have 100% digital records. So I think that's interesting.
The discovery was provided at the court previously and is in the two bankers boxes that are in front of the court to your left, Mr. Lane. I'm going to order you, sir, to take possession and custody of that discovery that was provided to the court previously on June 28, 2024. You, through Prison Break investigation, shall copy all of the discovery onto as many USB jump drives as necessary. The Judicial Administration Commission for the state of Florida shall be responsible for the fees and costs due to Prison Break investigations for copying all of the discovery onto as many USB jump drives as necessary. You will appear for hearing with the court on August 1st, 2024 at 8:45 in courtroom 12A of the Orange County Courthouse with the discovery and all USB jump drives containing the discovery. A representative from the Orange County Jail shall also appear for that hearing as well. At that point in time, Prison Break investigation shall hand deliver all USB jump drives containing the discovery to the representative from the Orange County Jail in order to be placed onto the laptop that is currently secured and to be issued to the defendant for all trial and court preparation. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
I was on play it, but to these materials, and it's going to all be digitized. So these poor people at Prison Break Investigations, odd name, right? Will have to photocopy them all into PDFs and put them on these thumb drives. Poor people.
I have a conflict for August 1st, Your Honor.
Okay.
Imagine if you could truly relax anywhere on demand. And what?
Out of state from Tuesday until Friday next week, which I believe is the conference office first for my son's wedding.
Okay, well, congratulations. When do you return from your son's wedding, sir?
I will be back late Friday evening, so I'll be available the following week.
Okay, will you be able to complete that task by that time?
Yes, sir, I'll do my best.
Okay, sir, we will see you on give me a second, I want to make sure I get the date right. Monday, August 5 at 8:45. Okay, you'll be given a copy of the order that I just read from. Ms. Boone, you'll also be given a copy of the order. Do you have any questions for me?
So she gets even more time.
Was a notice ever put online for this or mailed to anyone? I don't even know why Mr. Lane is here. I don't know why I'm here.
Well, first and foremost, Sarah, you are here because you murdered George Torres Jr. That's the first thing. The second thing, while you are sitting in this specific room at this specific time, the judge just clearly outlined. So you could get your discovery, ma'am. Did you hear the words that were coming out of his mouth? He just outlined how you can get your discovery. Remember the last letter, at least that we've seen? Your first line was, "Where is my discovery?" Well, girl, he just answered it. So what does it matter if this was posted online? Did you understand what he said right now?
Well, ma'am, you are now representing yourself, and previously you had requested to appear at every hearing that was held. As you are now representing yourself, the court cannot have any hearings regarding your case without you being here. I put on the record and explained to you the process that the court has had with communications with the jail. I'm not allowed to look at any of that. I'm not allowed to copy any of that. So in speaking with the jail and understanding that you still have a private investigator that was provided to you through the state that's being compensated by the state, you're still allowed to utilize his services. The protections of the attorney-client privilege are still applicable to him. So he's able to review any of these documents, ensure that they are safely copied without violating any terms of the privileges. Those will then be placed on multiple USB drives and provided to you. Those USB drives will then be uploaded to a computer that has been secured for you at the jail for you to access all of that information.
Okay. My question is, was a notice of hearing posted or mailed to anyone to where apparently the news crews obviously got it? How is it that I do not know?
This is so pedantic for her to ask. Like, it just shows you like where her mind is, right? Who cares? Who cares about the notice? You're about to get your discovery. Focus. And additionally, he's saying he can't see that, nor can, by extension, anyone who works for him, right? And so therefore he can't copy it, or anyone who works for him. So he is using the private, utilizing, let me say, the private investigator, because there's the privilege between attorney Sarah Boone and the private investigator. So it doesn't breach anything, right? It doesn't create a something that might be won on appeal, an appealable issue. It doesn't create an appealable issue. So why is she focused? Like, you're here. You complained before that you weren't at all of your meetings or conferences or hearings. You're here and you're getting relevant information. I bet she didn't hear like one iota of what he said, because she is just waiting to be like, what notice? Where is the notice? How are the media here?
Anything about this other than my bump being kicked at 3 o'clock in the morning telling me I have court?
Ma'am, I have no other way to get in touch with you other than setting the hearing, which was set yesterday once I received confirmation from the jail as to the processes for how this would work. And I understand that your case is important, and I want to move as efficiently, as diligently as possible. I know that you've been waiting for this information, and it took some time to confirm the process with the jail. You've advised me that you have very limited space. You have almost no privacy. You have a small drawer where you can keep some personal effects. We could not send all of those boxes with you to the jail, and the jail advised me that they cannot take all those boxes. A process had to be created to make sure, and this is the process.
I think I just found a climatic dupe. Let's put these to the test. Starting off with the dupes, I'm going to see if I can snap them. And as you can see, these bended really.
The process that I was explained after speaking to a couple of sergeants, and I've been waiting for that, and I would much rather prefer a hard copy of these to where I can write on them as opposed to anything that's on a laptop.
I'm unable to provide that for you. I have been provided the process has been provided.
You see how she didn't listen? She'd prefer who cares what you prefer, ma'am? George would prefer to be alive. But she'd prefer a hard copy. And who are the two sergeants that she talked to? That is completely not relevant. Like, do you feel like the judge just made this whole process up? The judge does not have any control over what is happening in the jail. Didn't we learn that from the Adelson case when they called whoever that is, the sheriff? In the judge is following the protocol, and the sergeants couldn't have told you what the process was because the judge just said the process had to be created. So yeah,
Provided to me by the Orange County Jail. I understand that's your preference, but I can't do anything more than what I've done right now.
I understand. And I have had other information given to me, which is why I've been waiting for the boxes for them. So I don't know, is this something that I need to pursue continuously still for me to be able to receive my hard copies? Because no one tells me anything.
I cannot answer that question because that may call for me providing you legal advice, which I am prohibited from doing.
Okay, well, because I have no other way of contacting you other than in a letter, and it's AKA worldwide. So am I supposed to go back and speak to the captain and whoever else it is that I might need to speak to in order to receive these?
Again, I cannot answer that question. All I can tell you is that we will have a hearing on August 5, whereby which
Yeah, you're asking for advice. He can't give you advice. You need to decide if you're going to pursue it. And God, I pray for the people who have to listen to her pursue anything. But yeah, how would he know? He just told you the jail's not allowing the hard copies in. So that's the information he has. He's not going to advocate on your behalf. If you want to hear a different answer, you need to talk to a different person. That's my advice. But you didn't ask me, girl.
Prison break investigations will provide all of the information on USB drives. Those will be provided to a representative from the Orange County Jail who will place all that information on a laptop for you to use, and that's accessible for your use from 0800 to 1600 every day.
Right. Okay, so I guess I will figure that out, because if I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can't utilize the laptop, which is another reason why I was looking forward to the hard copies. So my other question is my time prorated for the time that I've been waiting for my discovery?
I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Will I be having additional time added, or will it be extended from the time period of me waiting for my discovery still?
I'm not in a position to answer that question. I don't know what it is that you're asking for.
My pretrial is supposedly set for September 24th, I believe it is. So obviously I will not be prepared. And obviously I do not know what I'm doing. And obviously I'm still waiting for my discovery. So for that time period that I've been waiting for almost 4 weeks now, will that be added to the time frame in order for me to be properly prepared?
As of right now, the dates are what the dates are, ma'am.
Okay, so I just missed a week. I'm a month.
The dates are what the dates are.
I love this judge. He is having none of the foolishness. I feel like now it's becoming obvious that her tactic all along has been to stall. I'm not sure what she wants to see in the discovery that's going to be so altering to the circumstances of her case. Like, right? Facts are, she's admitted to zipping this man up in the suitcase, whether it be with 2 fingers out or not. She's admitted to going to bed, and she's on camera telling the man, George, who is begging for his life, fuck you. And then when he keeps saying he can't breathe, she says, shut the fuck up. So I don't know what else is going to be in this discovery that's going to be so earth shattering. Do you know what I'm saying? So no, you're not getting any more time. And I think he outlined that in the 16-page order, right? Come hell or high water, that date is not changing. If you get new counsel, that date is not changing. So no, you waiting for this discovery. I was going to air quote it because she's an air quoter, but it's the real discovery, so I won't. But yeah, you're not getting any more time, ma'am.
So I also sent you, I believe, 5 motions. Have you received those?
No, ma'am, I have not.
They were mailed last week.
Then I have not received them.
He
yet.
said
The last
no.
correspondence I got from you, ma'am, was received on July 8th.
5 motions I've mailed. They're probably sitting wherever else it is, considering it takes a day for you all to receive my mail, considering I'm right down the street from you all. So I have those also in order, which may change whatever information or anything that I'm trying to acquire in between now, the month less that I have.
Okay, Petty LaBelle. She has to go tit for tat that it takes so long for the mail to get there, even though she's down the street. So you're not the only one who has outgoing mail, right? And the mail doesn't leave the building based on the proximity of the address of where it's going to where you are. Like, I'm sure it's standardized. Mail pickup is X time every single day. Mail outgoing is X time every single day. Now, and I'm seeing that all of them are stamped. So it is going through the postal system, right? Because when you look on the docket, like the last letter she wrote, they included a copy of the envelope. So it's going through the U.S. postal system. I know you don't think that he's also the manager of the post office, ma'am. And then she's like, because considering I have less time, again, you were there, Sarah. You were there at the murder. You were there at the interrogation. There are some things you may not have seen. I was thinking maybe she hadn't seen George's autopsy, which I have a note of it. I want to go over that in this at the end of this. And I'll put a link to this video down in the description box below. But even that, even if she hadn't seen it, which I believe she has, because Attorney Cashman was saying she was making a copy for her, and in the margins, Sarah had written on them, right? Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Somebody is messaging me like they don't have good sense. Sarah had written in the margins, and here she is again saying, oh, I want the hard copy so I can write on it. So that substantiates, not that I thought Cashman was lying, but sometimes Sarah doesn't realize like when to shut up. She's got to be petty. She's got to get that last dig in.
Prepare for my trial. That's in October. So if you could keep an eye out for those also. I don't know who I'm supposed to ask. How did Mr. Lane come into any of this? Like, how was he called?
Mr. Lane has been your investigator in this case, and he was advised to attend this morning's hearing by virtue of being provided the discovery in order to digitize it so that you can have access to it.
The court contacted him?
I did not contact him.
Am I allowed to speak to him directly?
You can.
Mr. Lane, who contacted you in order for you to be here, please?
JA.
If I'm pro se and my own attorney, shouldn't I be included in all of this so I know what's going on and not a surprise hearing like it is again for the second time?
Ma'am, again, this is why there were benefits to being represented by counsel. The court has already identified in its 16-page order the reasons for why you no longer have those benefits.
Surprise!
It makes things exceptionally more difficult, as I explained to you, in communicating with the court and communicating with the state attorney's office.
Isn't that what a certificate of service is for anything that's filed by anybody in the court?
No.
There
That
was,
should be included in that.
ma'am, there was no certificate of service for setting this for today. This was coordinated by the JA. You were advised as soon as it was set yesterday.
It's just very odd to me that the news knew about it before I did.
Again, I can't speak to that.
And so nonetheless, my constitutional right to counsel is being forfeited on your behalf in the court. So now I don't get appropriate notice in preparation for me to be able to be here and doing what I'm supposed to be doing and act as and perform as?
I've already addressed the reasons, ma'am, for why there was a forfeiture and alternatively a waiver in the 16-page order that you were provided. Again, it's difficult to communicate with you based on where your current housing is. I'm not able to pick up the phone. The judicial assistant's not able to pick up the phone to communicate with you or send you an email to schedule certain things. And it leaves a little bit of a level of further complication.
How is it the news knows before I get
You keep asking the same question and the answer is going to be the same. I cannot answer that question for you because I do not know.
Okay, but you do know it's harder for me.
I would agree with that, yes.
And you do know that you did not ask me any questions in regards to your order. You just read it straight off and never asked me what's what or how many with anything of it.
Ma'am, if you have questions, I can certainly try to answer them. I'm trying to facilitate you getting that information that you're certainly entitled to.
It was an order. It wasn't a conversation. That's why he didn't ask you questions ahead of time. You sent him 58 pages, ma'am. He didn't need to hear another word from you. Not another word, as my papa would say. He didn't need to hear not another word from you. You sent 58 pages. He understands your position, your actions with the pretend judge and the walking out. Sarah, it's not your world. You just live in it like the rest of us.
And it took time for a process to be created by the Orange County Jail. As they had advised me, they do not have a place to store 2 banker's boxes of information, nor are they in a position to provide you physical copies. This is what I've been advised as the process is. As soon as that process was finalized, I set the hearing. This was finalized yesterday.
No one ever asked me. I've been waiting for the boxes.
He already explained that.
To say, and because I supposedly have no way to contact you other than a letter, and the same for you. I don't know how the news crews got here before I did, but I don't know going.
Wait, she said, I don't have where to contact you other than a letter. Same for you. So does she meaning the judge should be her pen pal and write her a letter? Didn't she just complain about how long it takes a letter to get there? So if he said it yesterday and he sent you a letter yesterday, you wouldn't have got it by 3 a.m. when whoever was kicking on your bunk bed. Ma'am, make it make sense. Am I like, let me know what you guys think, because that just, she's so petty and so needs to be in control and needs to correct everybody. Like, nobody likes a know-it-all. I can't, if anybody knows what kind of job she had, like, what was she? Because what was her occupation? Because good Lord, she will make a grown man cry.
forward, how is it that I'm supposed to be able to communicate with you other than me sitting here in front of you at these, I guess, supposed surprise hearings that I'm going to have every single time that it is that you would like to speak to me? Is that what it's going to be?
Ma'am, I cannot answer that question. All I can tell you is that you can communicate with the court through the avenues that you've been utilizing previously by and through letter writing. As I said, I do not have your letters that you sent last week. They're not in the court file, and they were not in my inbox yesterday. So as soon as I receive them, I will diligently review them. And if we have to set a hearing, you'll be properly noticed for it.
And the certificate of service.
You'll be properly noticed for it. Yes, ma'am.
And will there be a proper notice for today?
Notice was performed last night. I've already explained.
The news crews, how they got here?
No, ma'am, I'm not going to let you do that. They're not under oath. They're not a party to this action right now.
We have our other person with an opinion here. Does anybody know what the certificate of service she's talking about? Because my thing with the certificate of service is like to prove, like, if a summons was sent and I sent the summons, I sign it as a certificate of service. But they would have sent it to the jail because she's in custody. So I feel like her beef is with the jail if they didn't tell her last night. I don't know what their process is. But clearly they got it because they woke her up. So I'm not sure what service she's arguing. If they hadn't received it, they wouldn't have sent her over to the. Somebody help me out. I don't know, child. She seems to really have a bug up her butt about that, though.
It's wrong and it's unfair.
You're certainly entitled to that opinion.
Am I allowed to ask him a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Lane, how is it that you and I are supposed to be speaking to one another?
So my suggestion would be, since you're now the attorney and you are pro se, that either you or your honor gives me access to the jail to come visit with you, and I'll be happy to do that. It is the policy of the Orange County Jail to have a letter represented from an attorney to allow me to access you. That's the reason for the past previous couple of attorneys have not had the ability to come out and access you, but that's changed. And I'll be happy to continue to move forward with any investigative actions that can be your defense, as long as I get that access.
So you need a letter from me,
Or the judge, or the jail, somebody that will allow me access to you. Yes, ma'am.
and I send it to you directly?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a letter also that you'll be supplying to him?
I don't know that I'm in a position to compel the Orange County Jail to do anything,
But you are the ones who contacted him.
but I can't tell the jail, let this person come talk to you. If they have a policy where you need to provide the letter, then you need to provide the letter.
That letter, you and I will not be able to speak with one another?
I will contact the jail myself and find out if there's an intention with pro se, or maybe they can speak to you directly to circumvent the actual letter itself.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you have any other questions?
I don't think you have enough time. I'm just doing my best, and if you could please keep an eye out for my motions.
I will be on the lookout for them. You said there were 5, correct?
Yes.
I will
If
be
you
on-
could please include me on the certificate of service for whatever hearings that we have that are no longer a surprise for me, please.
Understood. You'll be given a copy of the court's order that I read momentarily, and I will see you both on August 5 at 8:45 in the morning. All right, thank you all very much. Mr. Cacciatore, anything further, sir?
Nothing from the state.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Oh, wait, before you leave, that is all going to be yours. Yes, I would, sir, so that you can begin the digitization process. All right, I'll see you on the 5th. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Yes. I'm just.
I think that's somebody from the press who wants to talk to her. Yeah, somebody with a pen and a paper. So, I wish she was mic'd. What do you guys think she's saying? Lord Jesus, she's smirking. Anybody read lips? She knows there's a camera on her face. She's flashing those baby blues. Oh my God. Hopefully, this might be somewhere on the news tonight. What we might have to come back and hear what she had to say. Or I guess the reporter will be repeating it because she's taking notes. I do want to show you guys the end of her arrest affidavit because it talks about George's autopsy, some of it. And so let's not forget who our real victim is. Share the screen, share the screen. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Okay, let me put myself here. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Hopefully you can. Okay, so let me just, so we don't have this hanging sentence here. So digital forensic investigator Junella Uadin, hope I did not butcher that too bad, responded to the scene and began to download the cell phone. While the cell phone was being downloaded, 2 videos were found on the cell phone. The first video began recording on February 24th, 2020 at 23:12. And it's 2020 because Sarah keeps saying she's been there 5 years. Girl, it is 4 years, all day, every day. Okay, at 23:12, so 1:12 in the afternoon. George repeatedly, oh no, that's at night. That's 11:12, right? At night. George repeatedly yelling out Sarah's name. Sarah told George, for everything you've done to me. Fuck you. Sarah was laughing when she said F you. Stupid. George repeatedly kept calling out Sarah's name. George said, I can't effing breathe. Seriously? Sarah replied, yeah, that's what you do when you choke. We've seen that video. So it just talks about the video is 2 minutes and 3 seconds long. The second video began at 2020 hours. Oh no, they don't have the hours in here. It was February 24th, 2020. But it can't be 2020 because before it was 23:12, so it would have to be a higher number. Anyway, George yelled out Sarah's name. The suitcase was now in a different position, facing upwards, and moved over toward the left side of the living room. Also, just a side note for me, I feel like if you look at it, her shoes, her flip-flops were moved from video 1 to video 2. I wonder if she went outside, had a cigarette, and came back, right? Because if you're in the house, do you really need to move your flip-flops? I feel like maybe she put them on to go smoke and then came back in and moved the suitcase. Maybe he was dozing off or something. And so that's what caused her to flip over. This is my opinion. But yeah, I just wonder. The suitcase was now in a different position, facing upward, and moved over toward the left side of the living room. That video was 22 seconds long. Synopsis of George Torres Jr. autopsy. On February 25th, 2020, George Torres Jr. received an autopsy located at the medical examiner's office. During the autopsy, it was noted that George had injuries. George had long nail scratches to his mid-upper back, a large nail scratch to the back of his neck, contusions to his left shoulder, left skull, and forehead contusions considered blunt force trauma, which I think all of those could happen falling down the stairs in the suitcase, right? Because we don't know how he was positioned. He was all bunched up, though, for sure, because he's an adult male in a suitcase. And so if he fell down, if he was pushed down, kicked down, sent down the stairs in the suitcase, and his left side was on the stairs, that would be consistent, right? Left shoulder, the skull, and then forehead contusions because she's dragging him around down there. But they were all, so it wouldn't even be the dragging for the forehead. It was blunt force trauma. So maybe he bounced down on one side and then it landed I guess head down. He landed head down. And a cut near his busted lip. Follow-up interview with Sarah Boone on February 25th, 2020 at approximately 1500 hours, 3 o'clock p.m. Sarah drove herself to the Orange County Sheriff's Office located at blah, blah, blah. Detective Scott Lowen and I, and Chelsea is the woman who's doing this report. I can't remember her last name, but Detective, I'm going to call her Chelsea. And I conducted an audio and video recorded interview with Sarah. The following is a synopsis of Sarah Boone's sworn recorded statement. I read verbatim to Sarah her constitutional Miranda warning. Sarah agreed she understood what I had just read to her. After informing Sarah about the injuries to George's body, she continued to deny any physical altercation occurred between the two of them. Sarah was shown the approximate 2-minute video that she recorded on her cell phone. Not even halfway through, Sarah no longer wished to watch the video. Sarah said she did not remember making the 2 videos. Sarah said the video looked bad. Sarah denied intentionally leaving George in the suitcase. Sarah was asked why she intentionally went upstairs and waited for George to come upstairs and did not check on him or let him out prior to going upstairs. Sarah replied, I don't know. Sarah contradicted her original statement and began to blame the consumption of alcohol. Sarah was informed that she was not free to leave and under arrest. Deputy Sheriff Lisa DeLeon responded to Central Operations to transport Sarah Boone to BRC. I think that was the woman with the ponytail that came in there and was walking her out where the cameras were waiting for her close-up. Based off Sarah's inconsistent statements on what occurred and the videos found on Sarah's iPhone, I believe probable cause exists to charge Sarah Boone with second-degree murder. George Torres Jr. is dead, and his death was caused by Sarah Boone's criminal act. Sarah zipped George in the suitcase where he could not get out. George begged Sarah repeatedly, telling her he could not breathe, and Sarah left him in the suitcase. Therefore, proves the unlawful killing of George by Sarah's actions that were imminently dangerous and demonstrated a depraved mind without regard for George's life. Oh, I made that small. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me try that one more time. Let's do this. Sorry, guys. I did not realize I did that. So it's there if you want to stop the video and just read that. So yeah, it was crazy. Like, I don't know what discovery she thinks is available to exonerate her from that. She flat out left the man in the suitcase after he was begging for his life. And then she even says the thing where she tells him to shut up so he can breathe, which is like the same thing they did to George Floyd, right? He was saying things so therefore he could breathe. That's not necessarily true. I feel like that's some sort of survival mode, like for someone to use their last bit of air to tell you they can't breathe in hopes that you will allow them to breathe, which is just bonkers to me. She's also on the body cam, very first cop that showed up, where she was like, I left him in there so he could squirm a little bit. Well, that contradicts the whole game part. It sounds like you lured him in there and then zipped him up, and you thought, well, I've got him in there now. I'm going to get back at him. And you've written all these letters, Ms. Boone, where it shows you're vindictive. I'm sure the prosecution is going to enter some of those into evidence, where she's being tit for tat with the judge, and she's like talking about all of her attorneys, and when she doesn't get her way, she talks badly of them. That paints for me anyway, that casts a whole shadow over every complaint she ever had about George to the police. Was she telling the truth, or did she embellish? Anyway, that's it. I'm going to try to get this out now. Thank you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm very, very curious. Like, it just is. It's like Daryl Brooks 2.0, but in the end, those people who were murdered in that parade got justice, and I'm praying for George's family to get justice. So, talk to you guys later. Bye.